Some love stories never fade. They wait to return. 30 years ago, a love story changed the way the world looked at romance. A chance encounter. A timeless connection. A story that touched millions, and now it returns. Cold open on Beverly Hills at dusk, the boulevard washed in gold. Storefront glass glows. Wind plays with a red silk scarf that hangs on a boutique door, the fabric catching light like a memory. We move past the scarf to a slow pan of polished shoes crossing marble floors, a bell at the door chiming once, bright and pure. A piano begins, gentle, romantic, just a hint of a theme we know without naming. The camera finds a woman's hand, ringless, tracing the seam of a crimson dress on a mannequin. The satin gleams, and in that shine we see a faint reflection of her jawline, but not her face. Cut to a man's cufflink turning into place, the tiny click rich with habit and history. He smooths his sleeve. A watch face catches the light, and with it a ghost of the old penthouse skyline. City traffic hums under the music. A traffic signal turns from red to green. Breath in, breath out. Title card flickers like a sign reborn. They found each other once. We drift through an elevator lobby. Fingers press the PH button. Doors slide shut, sealing the sound to a hush. We cut to a hotel corridor, plush carpet swallowing footsteps. A room key card pauses at a handle, not quite moving, as if time itself is asking a question. The piano swells a little, then quiets to a heartbeat rhythm. A corner table in a private restaurant waits, 2 crystal glasses set, a single red rose laid on linen as if it arrived early and never left. Outside, rain touches the city, soft dots on a chrome railing, each drop glowing like a bead of memory. In silhouette behind gauzy curtains, a woman lifts a hand to fix an earring. On the opposite side of town, a man ties his bow tie with the ease of an old ritual. Their motions echo across the cut, 2 lives moving in step, the space between them filled with everything they did not say and everything they still could. Text breathes onto the screen. Time changes people. Love changes time. A limousine door opens. The interior is dark velvet and promise. The camera hovers outside, respecting the mystery. We see only a wrist as it rests on the doorframe, a hint of laugh lines in the reflection of the window, the suggestion of a familiar smile we feel more than see. The music adds a quiet string under the piano, a warm thread of hope. We glide past a jewelry window. Pearls glow like tiny moons. A hand hesitates, then moves on, choosing the road over the case. The boulevard slips by, the fire escape where someone once looked up and believed, the hotel awning that remembers the sound of sudden rain, the corner where a white limousine once waited like fate with 4 wheels. The camera never shows a face. Our lens holds to gestures, textures, the small signals of a life learned and a love remembered. On a bench, 2 coffee cups sit side by side. Steam curls. A passing bus sends a wave of wind that pushes a lost movie ticket across the ground. It catches on a shoe and stops. The shoe does not move. The owner bends, picks up the ticket, and keeps it. We are back at the elevator doors. They open to the penthouse foyer. Citywood night spreads beyond floor-to-ceiling glass, a quilt of light and distance. A grand piano rests near the window, lid half open like a secret. Someone only their hands presses a single key. The note lingers, tender and aching, and the camera finds the rose from the restaurant now resting on the piano's edge. The elevator doors close again, empty, as if they have delivered a message to the room and slipped away. Cut to heels on marble, slow and sure. Cut to dress hem, the color of a beginning. Cut to cufflink, steady as a vow. The music pauses on a breath, and a whisper reads across the screen like a vow kept in silence. If you listen, you can hear the moment a heart turns toward home. The rain grows heavier, painting currents down the window. But the city glows warmer, as if remembering with us. The limousine glides under a new awning, and a white-gloved driver steps back, waiting. We follow only the shoes as they touch the ground, first one pair, then another, steps separated by time, drawn by something simpler than fate and stronger than chance. A door opens to a lobby full of light. A bell chimes. The scarf from the boutique passes in someone's hand, folded like a promise saved. The camera takes one last drift across details that carry their past. A map with a pin at the corner where laughter once echoed. A photo turned face down on a desk, a business card with an old name crossed out and a new one written above it. The piano returns, softer now, as a single line of text appears, clean and certain, Julia Roberts. Richard Gere, A Love Story returns. The screen fades to black, holding the feeling a second longer than comfort. And in that small ache we know the truth. Some doors open twice. Asterisk, the screen flickers to life with a quiet hum of city traffic. No faces appear, only fragments of their world. A man's hand tightens the knot of a silk tie, the fabric smooth and practiced, a ritual learned long ago. The cufflink glints, older but still polished, a reminder of a man who once bought everything except the thing that mattered most. Cut to a woman's reflection, not her face, but the outline of her figure as she adjusts an earring in a tall mirror. Light spills across the room, catching on the strands of her hair, soft but touched with time. The air carries a sense of wisdom earned through years of love, mistakes, and survival. Text drifts across the screen. They are not who they once were. But they never stop being who they are to each other. The camera shifts to the city skyline at dawn. A coffee cup rests on a balcony rail, steam curling into the morning air. A second cup waits beside it, untouched, the space between them heavy with expectation. A hand reaches out not to drink, but to brush against the rim of the empty cup. In that small movement, the memory of someone else lingers, as if they could walk into frame at any moment. The piano from before returns, slower now, carrying the weight of years gone by. We move to a woman's desk, scattered with books and papers. A manuscript lies open, words highlighted in gold ink. Love is not about where you begin, but where you return. Her fingers trace the line, hesitating just long enough to reveal that it means more than poetry, is truth carved into her life. The scene cuts to a man standing before a glass window in an office tower. His reflection overlaps with the city lights, blurring the past and present into one. He places a photo frame face down on his desk, not out of rejection but out of protection, as though the memory inside is too powerful to face before its time. The music shifts slightly, strings joining the piano, a fuller, deeper resonance. A pair of shoes click down a marble hallway, slow but certain. We see only legs, polished leather, a confident stride that carries both power and loneliness. Across the city, a woman's heels cross a rain-dampened street, her scarf trailing in the wind. Their steps are filmed in parallel cuts, their movements echoing each other, their lives aligned even when apart. A door opens, light spilling onto dark pavement. A hand pauses on the frame, holding it open, waiting, as if instinct knows the moment someone will walk in. Cut to a jewelry box being closed with care. A ring, untouched for years, rests inside. The camera doesn't linger on who holds it, only on the gesture of closing, gentle, reluctant, unfinished. Another cut reveals a piano again, its keys collecting dust, until a hand wipes across them and presses a note. The sound rings sharp and clear, filling the silence with promise. The scene expands outward, a bustling restaurant. Paparazzi flashbulbs outside, a limousine idling at the curb. None of it matters compared to the close-up of a table being set. Two glasses are placed side by side. A single candle burns between them. We never see who is sitting there. We only see hands, the kind of hands that have lived, aged, and carried both regret and longing. One rests on the table, fingers open. The other hovers, trembling for just a moment before choosing whether to close the distance. Words spill across the darkened screen. Time makes love fragile, but it also makes it unbreakable. The music swells again as the curtain of rain falls outside, blurring the city into streaks of light. The audience doesn't need to see their faces to know some stories continue even in silence. Some bonds remain untouched by time, waiting for the right moment to step forward again. Asterisk, the rain grows heavier. Drops crash against a limousine window, streaking downward like tears against glass. A single windshield wiper moves back and forth, steady but mechanical, trying to clear away what refuses to disappear. Inside, a man's hand grips the armrest, veins tense beneath the skin. We never see his face, only the strain in his knuckles and the rise of his chest as he exhales. A phone buzzes on the leather seat beside him. The screen lights up with a message. It's not too late. His hand hovers above the phone but never touches it. The buzzing stops. Silence presses and dot cut to another part of the city. A woman's reflection shimmers in a fogged-up mirror, her hand wiping across the surface to reveal only her lips as they part in doubt. Behind her, a red dress hangs untouched on the door, waiting like a decision that cannot be delayed. She steps closer, fingers brushing the fabric, then pulls away as though it burns. Her shoulders rise with a breath she cannot release. On the knitstand, an envelope rests, unopened. The name written across it is hers, but the handwriting belongs to him. She stares at it, but the envelope remains sealed. The music shifts. The piano slows, but the strings quicken, vibrating with tension. We cut to a dinner table in a crowded restaurant. Flashbulbs from cameras burst outside the window, illuminating the silhouette of a couple seated together, but one chair is empty. The waiter pours wine into a single glass, and for a moment the scene feels incomplete, hollow. A hand touches the base of the glass, steady, patient, waiting. But the second glass stays untouched. The candle between them flickers, fighting against the draft from an opening door, a quick cut sharper, louder. A limousine door slams shut. The echo reverberates down the street, swallowed by the rain. Another cut, a key slides into a hotel room door, but it doesn't turn. The hand that holds it trembles, unsure whether to push forward or walk away. The shot lingers until the key is pulled back, leaving the lock-untouched dot across the city. In a penthouse suite, the grand piano waits. Its lid is open, the rose from before still resting on its edge. A hand presses a note. Another joins. The music begins tentative, unsteady. The melody tries to build but falters, interrupted by a knock at the door. The hands freeze over the keys. The knock comes again, louder this time. A decision waits on the other side of the frame. The film cuts to a rain-soaked street. Headlights flash. A man runs across, shoes splashing through puddles, the city rushing around him. We don't see his face, only his outline against neon signs. Behind him, voices call his name, cameras snapping, the weight of a world that wants to pull him back. But he doesn't stop. Each step is faster, more desperate, as though he is chasing something he lost long ago. Parallel cuts show the woman standing at a balcony, gripping the railing. The city below glitters like a million unanswered questions. She leans forward slightly, not in despair but in longing, as if waiting for a sign. Behind her, the unopened envelope still rests on the table, now soaked by rain dripping from the open balcony door. The ink begins to blur, his name fading, her choice dissolving with it. The music rises, strings, sharp, relentless. A flash of a boardroom, contracts on a table, signatures half-finished, pens dropped in haste. A briefcase snaps shut, then reopens, papers spilling onto the floor. A photograph falls with them, two shadows hand in hand from long ago. A hand picks it up, brushing water away, staring as if trying to hold the moment in place. Back at the restaurant, the candle finally dies. Smoke curls upward, drifting toward the empty chair. The glass of wine remains untouched, the red liquid glowing faintly in the low light. A title card appears in silence, When the Past Returns. Can love survive the future? The final shot of this section lingers on a streetlight blinking in the rain. Underneath it, two silhouettes stand apart, facing each other but not yet moving closer. The distance between them is measured not in steps but in years, choices, and mistakes. The screen fades to black before either one takes a step. Asterisk, the screen opens to silence. A streetlight flickers above an empty crosswalk, its glow blurred by the night rain. The camera lowers to the pavement. Two sets of footsteps approach from opposite directions, their reflections shimmering in the puddles. They stop just before colliding, close enough that the water between them ripples. Neither face is revealed, only the shadows of their figures cast across the rain-slick ground. For a heartbeat, time seems frozen. A piano chord swells, joined by soft strings that climb higher with every passing second. The camera pans upward to show the city skyline at night, towers glittering like a sea of stars brought down to earth. Fire escapes gleam with water, neon signs flash in the storm, and far below, traffic hums like an orchestra of fate. Over it all, a single line appears in white, bold but delicate. Some doors open twice, cut to a faceless hand holding the red scarf from earlier. It floats in the breeze, the fabric catching the city lights. Another hand reaches for it, their fingers graze, not yet clasping, but the tension in that touch fills the entire screen. We cut sharply to the grand piano in the penthouse. The rose lies across the keys. This time, two hands press down together, the melody full and rich. The music bursts into life, the familiar theme rising but with new power. Older and deeper than before, scenes collide in montage. A limousine door opens, but now both pairs of shoes step out together. A restaurant table glows with the warmth of two glasses finally lifted in a toast. Rain pours across the balcony, but inside, the unopened envelope has been torn. Its contents revealed only in fragments a line about love, a date scrawled long ago, a signature we recognize even without a name. The hands holding the letter tighten, not in fear, but in relief. The camera shifts back to the silhouettes at the crosswalk. At last, they take a step forward, the distance between them vanishing. Their shadows merge in the glow of the streetlight. The scarf falls, caught by the wind, but neither reaches to save it. They are already holding each other, even if only in outline. The music swells higher, the strings rushing with triumph. The piano racing in harmony, a montage of faceless memories explodes across the screen, each more vivid than the last. A hand sliding across a hotel keycard, this time turning it fully. A door opening to light, not hesitation. A man adjusting his cufflink, but with another hand resting gently over his wrist. A woman's earring catching the city glow as she turns towards someone unseen. Two coffee cups steaming on a balcony, finally both filled, finally both lifted, the music crescendos. A sudden burst of silence follows, holding for a long breath. Then a heartbeat, 1, 2, 3 on the final beat. The screen ignites with words across a black background. Julia Roberts, Richard Gere, the story you never forgot. Returns. The music explodes back in, triumphant and soaring. The screen cuts to faceless silhouettes standing against a blazing sunrise, their outlines framed by the light of a new day. They clasp hands, not tentative, not hesitant, but certain, as though the years of separation were only chapters in a longer story. The camera pulls back, higher and higher, until the city stretches below them like a canvas of gold and silver. A red rose falls from above, landing on the piano keys. The note it strikes resonates, pure and unbroken. The scarf drifts across the screen one last time, carried upward into the morning sky. The final title emerges, bold, cinematic, impossible to ignore. Pretty Woman 2-2025, only in theaters. The music ends on a lingering chord, the sound of resolution, of something lost and found again. The screen fades to black, leaving only the echo of the promise that love, once written, is never erased.